this computer. Take this glasses cleaner cloth down so I can see everything. That was my reminder to start recording. All right, cool. It's March. Welcome, guys. And today I'm going to be doing something shorter from a presentation, and then I want to dive into kind of what I'm talking about here and about how we can improve the businesses represented here. It's about education and self-improvement and motivation and mindset and what you're doing for yourself. There goes Hector. Here comes Hector. So I want to go through what I've spent money on with education and self-improvement for my motivation and my mindset in terms of my spending. So the first in the photography side of things was Headshot Crew, $20 a month. I spent $2,000 or so on going to Mania the first time. I went to Mania because I was thinking about going full-time. I valued getting to meet people who were full-time headshot photographers. Obviously meet Peter, meet a lot of people that I had been helped by in person. And that was hugely beneficial, worth the money. I joined Headshot Hot Sauce. I think I've given them about $1,500 to help with, to help me improve my website and messaging, other things that they cover there. I think that's been a good spend. I don't know if I'll renew because I haven't been spending the time needed to get more benefit from it. And I think I've gotten a lot of value out of it, and spending a lot of my time working on the website and learning from them will probably not be the best use of money since I've had 2 years of working with them. Mania 2, I was a mentor, so I didn't have to pay. I kind of went all expenses included. I think I kind of broke even. Took 4 or 5 days of my time. Was worth it. I love Mania. If we do a Mania 3, you should come. I've spent $3,000 on Boutique Breakthrough, which had some value, but it was about how to build a portraits brand, a print-based portraits brand. I learned some through it, but it wasn't what I needed really. It was about how to get your first $1,000 client, which should have been a tip off to me that it wouldn't be for me because I knew I didn't want $1,000 clients. I bought Megan DePiro's Level Up, which was basically trying to teach the same basic thing, but she has the $10,000 club, the 10K club, where you have a client over $10,000. And that was, I think I paid $1,000 for the course instead of $3,000 for the other course. And it covered everything in the $3,000 course just as well, if not better. But it covered so much more. It was a much better value as a course goes, and it was a third of the price. So it was actually cheaper and so much better. I think I spent $1,800 on Next Level, which is about how to market and get clients for your portrait business. I haven't watched all that, but I don't think it was money badly spent. I spent $500 on her Wall Art Revolution course to learn how to sell wall art better. And I need to finish that, finish Next Level, get busy, but I feel good about those purchases because they're helping build the portraits brand. Even all the portraits education I've spent is probably under 5,000. So I think that's going to be like an average client. So I'm not worried about that. And I just recently purchased Full-Time Filmmaker because I'm getting pretty serious about this video business. And it was a highly rated course. I'm through maybe 10% of it, but like 50% of what I really care about, because they have videos about wedding photography and videos about music videos, and that's not what I'm going after. So maybe half through what I want to see of it. I've hired coaches. So I hired a woman who just clicked with me. She was from an executive background. She was in my networking group. It was $1,500 for 3 calls, one a month. And I think the things we covered could very well pay off very big with a couple leads that I have, but yet to see whether it was really worth the money. I'm thinking about paying between $9,000 and $30,000 for someone to coach me on sales, basically, with an emphasis on LinkedIn and time management and vision for the business, and who I should be reaching out to and how I should be reaching out to them. So that would be my biggest education spend so far. In addition, I listen to audiobooks, and it's self-directed motivation mindset work. It's education around sales, mostly from Grant Cardone, but also significantly a while ago from a guy named Jeb Blunt. And I think that's very cheap education. An audiobook is $10 or $20, $30. And I listen to them a lot of the time when I'm driving by myself to work or back, which is a 45-minute plus commute. I'm listening to that stuff. It gets me excited again when I'm not feeling so excited. It makes me think of things, my business, in a different way. It gives me tips and tactics for dealing with people. I'm listening to Vanessa Van Edwards' book Cues now, and I think that will be well worth the money and time as you learn. I'm only maybe 45 minutes into it, but she's talking about how to read people and how to communicate, especially with nonverbal communication. And it's not just even tricking people into thinking that you're warm. It's like how to show is basically a balance between confidence and approachability. It's warmth and knowledge. And I think I need to do things that show my warmth more. And she even talks about things you can do on the phone, nonverbal things you can do on the phone, which you wouldn't think would exist, but she's getting into that where I am in the book right now. So all this is to say basically that it's your responsibility to educate yourself on things that will be helpful to your income. And so I want to dive in a minute and talk with each of you about figure out what it is you need, where in your business can you grow the most and be most effective with education, and then figuring out who can help you. And then there's also, if you've had a slow week or month, like some of us have, I just want to talk generally about your responsibility based on discipline and how you're structuring your time. I need to do much better at this. I've been doing better this year than I have in previous years, I would say. But what do you already know that through discipline and being aware of how you're spending your time that you can do, or you could do better, that will have an impact on your business? And just thinking critically on your own or with me now about where in your business needs the most focus. So I want to do that. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
I'm doing a shorter presentation this month, which you have just missed, but I just basically did a review of all the education and my kind of analysis of how that has helped me. And now we're going to talk about our responsibility to grow our own businesses and we're going to focus on, I want to talk with each of you, if you want to, about your businesses and where you need help, where you can grow, how you can grow based on education, and then even just about taking responsibility for the discipline you have to manage your time and use it well to grow your business. All right, so Peter, do you want to go first?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, that sounds like a reason you should go first.
Right.
So what I know about your business is you don't just do headshots. I think you're doing some portraits,
Right.
non-headshot portraits, and obviously you're doing pet photography. I was reminded of that by the conversation this morning and by the dogs in the back. So, yeah. Do you do anything else?
No. And I haven't done the pet photography or portraits really in quite a while, like with COVID, trying to socially distance here with animals and owners running around was tough.
Yeah.
But I'm about to start that up again.
Okay, cool. And I also remember that you are an anomaly in that you have a lot of unassisted bookings.
Right. Except lately, I haven't had a lot of unassisted bookings.
Yeah.
I'm toying with going opt-in. The thing is, my business has been so erratic, so up and down. I think it'd be hard to make an assessment if opt-in is working or not working. Like, it's been so crazy. So,
So you and I talked about being active on LinkedIn and
Yep.
linking to an opt-in only from LinkedIn so that people
Yeah.
who find you organically can book unassisted without the added step of opting in.
You have a great memory, and I didn't do that.
Okay. Are you active on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I am. I've made a lot of, I've been working LinkedIn. Yes.
Okay. Have you
posting
been
3 times a week?
Following Trevor's? You can mention Trevor in this group.
Yes. Yes.
That's good. That's
even
good.
before that, because of you, I was focusing more. But then with Trevor, even more. So posting like 3 times a week, engaging every day on other people's posts, and every day reaching out for more contacts, more connections.
So, what comes to mind based on what we've already talked about is, have you connected with the people you were in contact with through the event that you were a part of, the fundraiser?
That was just yesterday. So, and I don't get contacts. Who are you talking about? I don't get contacts with the bidders or anybody who participated.
Right. But you had contact with the people putting on the event.
Right. And so, yeah, I'm planning to develop a relationship there because they now see the quality of my work. And since they're a big dog, I might see if I can develop that more. Yes.
Yeah. So I would connect with them. I would think about, I'm sure you have thought about who you can connect with, who you already know that you're not connected with on there. Yes.
I'm going to start to develop that on LinkedIn.
You're connecting with people you don't know as part of the daily task, right?
Right.
But have you carefully thought through who you know that you're not connected with?
Not too much.
Yeah, I think that, that's even more important than connecting with random people.
Right.
But unknown strangers, which I think is a great strategy. I'm doing that strategy because of Trevor. I didn't understand. Someone else told me, like, connect with 5 new people a day. I'm like, I don't know who, but he told me how. So I've been doing that, and I think it's awesome. But the people who are even more important to connect with, because they'll accept 100% of the time, unless they know you too well, then they might not. If they still think you're a good guy, they'll connect with you. And they'll be more friendly, obviously. it's more likely to just start a conversation like, oh, hey, thanks for connecting over here. I was actually thinking about you last month and blah, blah, blah. So make sure you are connected to everybody you know. They're more likely to engage with your content, which means your content will show to more people that they know and maybe that you know, but you haven't connected with yet. I mean, it's all good stuff. So I would, it might take a day or so. Like think about like,
Right.
I'm a part of this club. Who do I know? Like find a list of all the members of, your yacht club or whatever you do. Oh, I've played volleyball. Who do I know from that? I was a part of this, this organization. I did Habitat for Humanity. Who did I know over there? Whatever, just think through your last, 10 years, like who do you know that you should connect with? Who do you randomly know, but you really hit it off, but you haven't talked to them for years?
Right.
I think that will help your LinkedIn game. Get the opt-in set up finally. It's been months. Do that for the LinkedIn page.
Right.
Set up at least. I think that's a good first step. And then focus on connecting to people already on LinkedIn. For education, I mean, if you're going to start talking to people on the phone more than you have, I need a lot of education on how to conduct sales on the phone. So I would suggest looking into Jeb. If you liked Grant Cardone from 10X Rule, then I would look at some of his books.
Jeb?
Particularly the Closer's Survival Guide has a lot of interesting practical lines that you can use to conduct a sales call.
Talking about Grant?
Yeah. If you didn't like him so much, then I
don't like him.
Then I would suggest Jeb Blunt.
Okay.
Blount.
BLO.
Grant is like a sales guy who, still does sales, but he focused on it earlier on in his career. He still does sales, obviously, but that's not like his full-time job description. Jeb Blunt is in the middle of it, and I think is probably more sophisticated in his sales and probably more up to date in terms of not giving advice from 20 years ago that worked.
Okay.
And he's a very respectable, intelligent guy. So
when you say sophisticated, I mean, the first question that came to me is, okay, is it going to be hard for someone who doesn't know much about sales to get it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I got stuff out of it. So he has a book called Prospecting. He has a book called Objections. And then I'm sure he has other books that I'm not remembering or I don't know about, but he also has a podcast, Sales Gravy, which doesn't have that many episodes as I remember, but it was very good.
Okay.
So I think what you're seeing for your business is that you had something that was working great, didn't require much effort, and was good while it was working. But I'm nervous about how much of my business comes from LinkedIn. I don't want.
Nervous?
Yeah, because what if it stops working?
Okay.
What if I say
it.
something and LinkedIn boots me? What if I just post something and people are like, I cannot believe you would say that, you support Russia or whatever. And then they're like, I get a news story about me and I'm like, no, I didn't say that. I said something else or whatever. If I like that, I appreciate that a lot of business comes from LinkedIn, but I'd rather have 20% coming from organic SEO, 20% from advertising, 20% from referrals, 20% from doing my headshots for veterans work, 20% from LinkedIn. That way, if for some reason, whatever reason, one of them cuts out, I'm have 80% instead of if something happens and LinkedIn just won't let me post anymore or whatever, because I've been connecting too much or something, bans me somehow. Then right now, like 50% of my business is gone.
Right.
So I think what's happened for you is you were comfortable with the unassisted bookings for the most part. And now you're like, I don't know what to do. You're
Right.
now developing other ways of getting business, which you should have been doing when I was telling you to develop other ways of doing of getting business. But it's really good for your business because you need more streams. Like if you had 4 ways of getting business in addition to the unassisted bookings that were all working together, that's when you can, increase price. Because if you had 5 times as much traffic as you did 2 months ago from different avenues, you're going to have more people booking and more demand for you, which is what you want. So diversified and more traffic would be good.
Got it.
So I would dive in on education on sales, basically.
Yeah.
And keep going with the LinkedIn thing, at least. And
Great.
keep up to date with the fundraisers. Maybe they have other fundraisers too. Maybe that, I'm sure the people running this event have run other events. They know other people running other events. I would maybe even ask them about where else are there events, something like this for.
No, I have a big list here of
Yeah.
upcoming events. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Hope that was
Yeah,
helpful.
that's a great
Go ahead, Deb.
that's a great idea of having, multiple sources of
Lead.
where your business come from, because I've been thinking about that and working on it, because right now 80% of my business is coming from BNI. And I was having that same thought, like you just said, what if I decide I don't want to do BNI anymore? Or what if I just, anything can happen. The referrals just dry up or whatever. What am I going to do? So that is really great advice.
Cool. All right, Craig. How's it going?
There we go. It's good.
Let me see if I
been busy.
remember correctly. I think you were more of in video, is that right?
I do some video. I used to do a lot of video,
Okay.
but too much.
Now you're wanting
That
to
much
do
right now.
shots primarily.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, I still do a lot of offices in interior photography,
Okay. So how's your business going?
It was crazy. January and December and February were just booming.
Okay.
I mean, it was multiple shoots a week. I did 4 groups in February of headshots, which were as a result of shooting 4 dental offices. So they were either renovated dental offices and relaunching their website, so they all needed new staff headshots. So
Awesome.
it works.
So what are your sales for the year so far?
I think it's like 25,000. I got another one coming up that owes me money from February, so I think it's about 25,000 so far for the year.
Awesome. So remember when you said your goal was 100,000, or I pushed you to 100,000? You're ahead of that.
Yeah, I know. I'm already thinking I want to be much higher than that, but I know I want that goal to be high. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So it sounds like 150 should be a minimum.
That's what I actually have on my goal board right now.
As a minimum.
As a minimum, yeah, it's in big bold letters, and
Good.
300 is below that, which is kind of like we'll see what happens. And then my other goal is headshot associate. So
that's awesome. So you still have a weakest point of your business. So what do you think the weakest point of your business is?
Weakest point of the business, probably, I guess it is probably following up on leads that I don't think are that real.
Yeah.
I tend to get people that'll say, come shoot my office, and then they'll say, oh, I do need headshots for everybody in my staff, and then I explain to them, what the cost is involved, and they kind of fizzle out, or maybe they do end up booking somebody else. And I know some of it works when I'm in person. I think I do better in person or on the phone, but when
Yeah.
it's an email, I think it's like, a couple of days will go by and I'll just, I'm already busy on something else. So I'm just, I let it fizzle off and don't really think about it. So
You're using a CRM?
I do not know
Okay, that's the weakest point of your business.
for sure.
I'm at the point where if I weren't keeping track, I have reminders popping up of people I don't even remember their names, and I'm pretty good with names. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. Excuse me. If I didn't have the reminder, I would never follow up with them again. And it doesn't take that long to follow up per person. I've structured my week so that the mornings, especially Wednesday and Thursday, and when I'm not shooting, Tuesday through Friday in the mornings, I'm trying to spend a good bit of time following up because I have a backlog because I wasn't as disciplined as I should be. But I have the largest law firm in the world was a client for the top 2 people in the firm. And it was when I thought I was going to get like a $50,000 a year job with them. And when I went to shoot those 2 people, I popped down to see the new general office manager. And he was like, oh no, we don't want any headshots anytime in the foreseeable future. We don't need them. I was like, okay. I mean, that seemed like a closed door. So I put a reminder in my CRM, and then I followed up with my point of contact who was nice and helped me get in for the 2 people. And she said, oh, I just asked last week about headshots, and we're going to wait a little longer, but I'm so glad you emailed and blah, blah, blah. So that's back on the table when it seemed like real shut. That guy was like, not, oh, nice to meet you. Maybe we'll work with you later. He was like, no, we're not doing that. So follow-up is super important. So it's great that you're busy, but if you don't have a CRM and aren't following up with people, it makes me think that your prices can be higher if you do a little more work on the follow-up, because you'll have more people interested and you won't need to book as high a percentage of people. You have an email drip campaign set up?
No.
So that's a way to follow up with people without spending any time on it.
I mean, I do it manually, but yeah, I don't do it automated. So
What manually?
like I will follow up and, say that, checking in
You can have
besides like what you just said.
You can have a 6 or 10 email educational drip campaign where you're staying top of mind. You're not asking them to book. You're saying, hey, the eyes are really important because of this. Or I don't just take your picture and tell you which one you should get. You actually give me feedback during the session. I do facial expression coaching. I have hair and makeup available. If you want to add that, I recommend it for women at blah, blah, blah. I shoot at this camera angle because it's super important to me that people look up to you instead of looking down on you. I have help for a jawline. I can make you do this and look, this is bad, this is good. All these emails provide like adding value and making them realize better the value of working with you. And you can just have it go out every 2 or 3 or 4 days and vary it so that they're getting emails from you for a month with you having to do nothing, with a button at the bottom to book you.
Right.
If you're doing the opt-in.
So is that
Doing the opt-in, it's hard to get people to sign up for a newsletter.
I do have the opt-in set up on my Squarespace website.
Yeah.
But I've only had probably 3 people opt in from January 1st. So do you go back and like add people, old clients to that campaign, or do you just use new opt-in?
If you have their emails and you have permission or you think it'd be all right to add them, then yeah, I'd add them.
Okay.
That makes me think that you might want to join Headshot Hot Sauce and see what you can do, because you should have more than 3 in
Yeah.
the 3rd month of the year.
Right.
If we have time at the end, maybe I can just pop on and see if I see something, because
Okay.
my website is working for that. Okay, I think it's not as good as some people's, but it is getting me leads. So remind me at the
It's-
end of the call.
It's hard for me to like go. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's hard for me to like make a complete switch on my website from just Headshot. I think I get so many clients still that come to me because I shoot for an interior designer, and they'll be like, oh, we want you to shoot our space. And then they realize, oh, wow, you can do headshots, because they see it right on the website. So it's like, and then there will be people like these 3 guys that I shot in January that just were like, no, I came to you for a headshot. They came into the house, shot them here. So it's hard for me to say, I just want to have a headshot website, unless I actually create a completely independent website at this point. I know when you go on my website, it seems confusing.
Okay.
So not maybe to the average person, but not to the people that are, running small businesses. Those ones definitely seem to get it. But
Okay.
headshot people tend to think, yeah, I should switch it.
If I get a chance to look at it, I'll give you my opinion and you can do whatever you want with it. But
Okay.
I think for headshots, there is a lot of value in having a headshots only site. It's different than everything else. I feel like if you have a portraits brand like we would think of, and you have headshots, and you do pet photography, and you do seniors, and you do maternity and stuff, I think that works. But if you really focused on doing headshots, like in the Hurley style, and you want that to make you a lot of money, and you don't do all these other genres, but like having headshots in real estate photography, I think there's value in just getting a headshots specific website. And then not to say that you wouldn't have an interiors website that says, I also do headshots like this. Click here if you're interested in the headshots, and then they can go to your headshots website and sign up.
Right. But then I'm maintaining 2 websites.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
I know.
All right, Hector, how are you?
Not too bad. I'm listening to Craig and Peter. It's like, yeah, like I have a CRM, but I haven't really fed it. So that definitely would be the weakest point. I try to, whenever I try to set up a call with anyone, as soon as I do it, I put it on Google Calendar, and Google is a little bit annoying when it comes to reminding you. So that's kind of like the way that I remind, but I know that there's a lot of things that fall through the cracks. Like last week, I had someone reach out. I think that we connected back in September, and it's like, oh, here, I wanted to circle back about the headshots. And I'm like, oh yeah, this was a group of 25 people that we never connected. But the thing here was, I mean, this is one example. But the tricky thing was like, this is a nonprofit, and I've gotten already like twice. Like, do you have a pricing for nonprofits, which I think to work out probably. But yeah, the something that probably Peter mentioned this, that I have usually, like I try to do this thing, or like hop on the phone whenever I'm talking with someone, and he's like, okay, so here's the process, or I break down first with the price so that there are no surprises, and make sure that I pause. It's like, okay, so the price is $175 for the session, and then the photos are sold separately, so there are no surprises. Because I've gotten a couple of people that after I send them the photo, it's like, oh yeah, we want to change, and it's like, no, your photos are selected at the moment. But I try to explain everything. So when I don't go and try to make the sale at the moment, which I should. It's like, okay, so when do you want to book? I just leave it open-ended. So that's probably like the sales part where I need to improve.
Yeah.
Big.
So CRM usage and sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me,
Like
that,
I always try not to make it like salesy. I still do when so let's say if I do a post and I try to see the engagement, I interact with the people that are connecting. That's where I'm a little bit more aggressive when I send the connection. It's like, hey, thanks for liking so and so's photo. Let's talk about updating your headshot or try to change it depending on something. Like somebody mentioned, one of my clients is like, hey, why don't you reach out to the people and just say, it's like, yeah, your headshot sucks. Let's talk. But I try not to go, I probably dial it down. But depending on the person, I change the tone. If it's someone that I see that the photo is rather updated, I just send the connection. It's like, oh, thanks for liking the photo. If you're open to connect, let's chat, and then start engaging.
why do you think,
Something that
why do you think you can be salesy when it's text and you can't be salesy when it's on the phone?
Well, because I don't think because when I'm talking with them, I'm not asking about like a particular date. When I do I open up the conversation. Let's talk about your headshot. Then they can still or most of them. I think I've only had a rejection, which was super interesting. But everyone is like, okay, they connect. It's like, yeah, let's talk at some point or further down the road, which is the same thing as when they call me. When they do the connection, I try to set up a time so that we can talk and then try to figure some time.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I would just do it. Well, you're talking about LinkedIn mining, right?
Yeah. And with LinkedIn mining, I found it really interesting because I've noticed, like I think Kevin mentioned this, that in one of the posts, I've noticed that yes, when mining, you get a broader audience, whereas before I like to be a little more strategic of who I was connecting with. And while I get to, something that I found was that as I'm doing my search on the free LinkedIn, I get cut off really quick. Like if I try to do the 5 searches and while I see the current people within the first 15 days of the month, like LinkedIn is like, yeah, you've searched already too much. And I still haven't figured out somebody to tell me, it's like, okay, so this is the exact number that you can see and that these are the numbers of requests. So I don't think there is a search number. So yes, I do find that the audience has been a little bit bigger, but I think at the same time, it's a bit limiting because when I try to interact with some people, these are people that don't interact much. So I see that, yes, they like the post or this or that, but it's nothing that they've actually posted. Whereas before I would see like the people that I added because they interacted with my posts is people that are posting. So in a way, while the audience has grown, it's getting a little bit diluted. So I think I need to do a little bit of refocusing or mix a bit of a 50-50.
When you do LinkedIn mining, you're getting in touch with people who may not be as active, but they have seen a headshot of someone they know from you.
Yeah.
So active posting and stuff is great because it gives you a chance to engage, in a not one-on-one way. But I would take people who, it can happen in DMs. You don't get booked on posts.
Yeah.
DM you. So I would take people who are not as active, who know that they like a picture I took of someone they know. I'd prefer the mining connections if I had to choose.
Yeah. Education wise, I think something that I want to look up more, it's Google, because I think when the way that they've changed their Google My Business to implement with the Google Maps, I'm getting a lot more drive on there. So I think that's something that I want to look into.
Okay. I would say there are more advantages to a CRM than reminders though. So I would not rely on your email to tell you that it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
What about people you want to follow up within a month? 3
Yeah,
days
that's
is
that
not ideal
is
for
important.
everyone.
And even clients, like I was just thinking of like clients that I had done photos like a year or 2 years ago
Yeah.
to come up for like an update. So that's something that I need to really start crafting for like a CRM.
And so last thing, you say you haven't been busy with shooting clients very much. So what, have you been busy doing good things for the business, or have you just been waiting?
Yeah, so let's say, so in social media, I haven't been as active as before. Like LinkedIn, yes. Like I probably haven't been like I used to do, like I don't know, like 3 times a week posting like different clients. But I'm trying to change that, and I think that in a way shifted the gears of how people were approaching me in these past 2 months. So I've gotten people, like somebody saw a post and it was a post that I did in December. So they booked a corporate shoot for their office. And from there, the owner also booked 3 family packages. So that kind of gave me a good January. And then I'm still posting. So like I try to do like a behind the scenes on both Instagram and LinkedIn, trying to do that approach of also putting more family. But I think what I need to start doing is now that everything is opening up, go to like networking events, like be present. The handshaking is really missed. So I think yes, online it's working great, but people are starting to come out. So I think it's been more presential.
One thing I would recommend when you do that is have your LinkedIn app and have people connect with you, since you're running up against this limit of connections.
Mhm.
So I would have them scan the QR code or whatever and send you a connection request while you're there.
Yeah, that's I know that that's and I don't know if people use this, but you know, when you go to my connections and then people pop up on that group, either from school, from a previous job, that doesn't count as a search. So that's something that when I'm being locked out, that's when I just send like the random connections. That's probably what diluted the quality of my feed, but it's again, it's a broader audience and a couple more people have seen it.
Cool. All right, Paul. How's your business
Hello.
going?
I think the predictability, I think, in avoiding the ups and downs is my weakest point of my business.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, I'm wondering if it's a lack of consistency in my activity. December, I basically didn't do anything. We had COVID that month, and I think I'm seeing that, or saw that in February.
Yeah.
January, I got back on the activity. In March's, I've already like doubled what I did in February. So
Yeah, there is a lag in terms of your activity and how it affects you. I think for me, at least, a lot of my clients book after a while. Like I'm big on getting them on the phone right away and booking some of them, but sometimes it just takes people a little while to be like, let's do it. And so if you're quiet for a month, I think whatever your lag time for, like whatever your often your time from someone finding out about you to booking, there will be a range of, a month maybe, I think. And then if you don't do anything in December, however long that is, you'll see it later.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's a good reason to, if you're not sick with COVID and can't do anything, not to let time lapse where you're not doing anything. And it's especially tempting when your business is going well.
yeah.
So consistency, that's just the discipline thing. Um, what skills or tactics could you use more education in from someone outside of the photography world?
Well, like you were saying with the closer survival guide, I'm still going through that book right now. But I think upping more of my sales game. I think once people are in and the experience is great, but closing some of the people that are either on the fence or less interested, getting them closer to the line of buying, I
Yeah.
think is a weak part of mine too.
So that like messaging comes to mind, but you've read Building a Story Brand.
Yeah,
Do you feel like you're integrating that when you talk to people?
I could do that. Well, I could go through that again. It would probably be good to refresh on all that. I
Are you
feel
thinking
like
about solving their problems, or are you just explaining what you do and asking them to book?
no, I do try to think about solving the problems, or I try to position myself as the guide and helping them be the hero.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes I don't do that well. So I think when I was in the book, it was helpful. I was more keeping everything at the top of my head.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I mean, I've listened to a book many times, and if you aren't absorbing and putting into practice what's in the book, then you need to read it again. So, or if you're only doing it partially, which sounds like you're doing it a lot, but yeah, I think reading a book like that again, I should read it again. But that could be helpful.
Okay.
Jim,
Good morning.
how's the business going?
Well, I posted it in the group a while back. It was February was slow. And everything you guys are talking about now, I can directly trace it back to my lack of activity beforehand, because I can go back to, I guess I started the LinkedIn mining, was that around May when you started talking about that, June or whatever. And then from going through there, September, October, November, December, we're doing, well, not so much December, but September, October, November, we did really well. And through the busy months, I sort of slowed down in that. And then that's where I'm in right now. So it definitely showed up. And even some of the money that I was getting that put me, I'm at 16,000 for the year. I wanted to be a lot further than that. I mean, I'm happy that it's there, but I wish it was further. But I know that it would have been, much more if I had continued. But out of what I was, when I picked up again, and the few that I had done, I have picked up a pretty big company. They're called Venerable. They're a branch off of Voya Financial. And the original estimate was for 300 people. They decided not to do everybody. So it's still about 80 people. And I'll be going out to Des Moines to do 10 people. And she was a fourth connection on LinkedIn. So friends liked it, friends saw it, liked it, she saw it. And that's how she got in contact with me. So I think that's the gold of LinkedIn that I never thought was there, that the people that you don't even know people that you don't know. And then, so that's coming up in, where are we now? Sorry, I haven't been sleeping well lately, so I'm very tired right now. We're in March. That one's in April. I have a second shoot at a company that I did before that came through my SEO on my website, and that's this Friday for 30 people. And because of the, and I don't want to go down the road of, I know this isn't, proper these days, but I would say get every person who's beautiful and shoot them, because when you put beautiful picture on LinkedIn, I don't know if you guys have noticed, you get a whole lot more activity. I know we're not supposed to judge and all that stuff, but we like looking at that. And so the most recent one that I posted of this woman, it blew up. And I think I have about 8 or 9 right now that are, like John, you said, they don't book right away, but just from that one post that I've already booked 3 from it. And I've got 6 others, and I got 2 opt-ins that came in over the weekend. When I look at who the person is, they're connected through that LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
But my weakest point, I'll say, has been the CRM. I have the CRM. At first, it was just kind of getting to understand it a little bit, and then it was using it. And when the things pop up, following up with it, it was a challenge before because of doing my graphic arts. Also, I have found a guy in the Philippines that's going to be taking over my graphic arts. Been working with him for the last couple of weeks, so that's going to free up a bunch of time. So I'm pretty excited about that because now I can just focus completely on this. And one other thing you said before, the people that were in to see me on Saturday, the wife did all the research. She found 6. She narrowed it down to 6 headshot people, then down to 2. And then it was between me and one other guy who's also sort of in the crew, but his site is not specific to headshots. And that's why they went to me, because my site was just specific headshots.
Yeah.
So,
Specialist.
yeah. But I got to do more. So I don't know if you guys saw, I posted that. If you guys want this, I made my daily activities tracker. I don't know if you can see that. See that big blurry thing?
Looks great.
Well, I don't want to see you guys to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, but it's, because I'm very visual with things and I like to check things off. So it's just this very basic thing that I check off, made my connections, made my follow-ups, made whatever. So something doesn't fall through the cracks, because that's probably one of the biggest issues I've always had, is those things falling through the cracks. And then 2 months later, something pops up and you're like, oh my gosh, that's right. I was supposed to call that person about that 50-person job. And,
Big
So-
jobs come fall through the cracks. It's, if you are consistent with your CRM and you get one of those for the year, it's worth it.
Yep.
Yep, 100%. So sounds like you know what you need to do, as most of us do. We know what we should be doing. We just don't do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, quick question. You mentioned always find the best looking people, right? But do you ever try posting photos like the people that are not as attractive?
I post everybody.
Okay, yeah, because
I thought, yeah, I mean,
He uses
so
one of those
I'll back up.
pictures.
So hold on. So John hammered me, rightly so.
Hold on, Jim. He uses Hector. He uses one of those pictures as his LinkedIn profile.
You mean of the ugly people? There we go. Yeah, but no. So John hammered me for a while because while I was posting pictures, I did not have good personal content, and a lot of that was just I blamed on. Anyway, I was too lazy. But so yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm creating. I take a video at some point during my shoot. I mean, they're standing there. I just turn the video on, and I ask them some questions. And then through the session, I also ask questions to get to know the person. And then I take some notes afterwards. Like the guy the other day was the king of all useless information. And when I found out where it comes from, it was his grandfather. It was a great story. So I've got a great thing to post now. He is not by any means one of the pretty people. He's a great guy. I mean, he looks good in his stuff. He looks like he's older and looked like he's been crushed a whole bunch of times. But he knows a whole bunch of people, and I'll still post about him. But I know that when people are scrolling through, his image will not get the same stopping power as, if he was a gorgeous model guy or a gorgeous woman. I just know that. But I post them all because he still has over 500 connections.
Yeah, I've gotten that thing that people said, yeah, you only shoot pretty people, and then
No.
I shoot everyone.
No, I don't only. I'm just saying.
And sure enough, one of the people that I posted last time, it's a nice lady, very talkative, and interestingly enough, she only had 126 connections, and it's one of the posts that has engaged that has the most engagement for me compared to one that I did last year. But it's like the number 4 buffet, and it's still like, again, depending on how you frame that gets the connections, I guess, and then leading for more booking.
Yeah, I mean, make it personal, John. I mean, I'd be sitting downstairs having coffee in the morning. I had somebody doing my SEO stuff. I didn't even know it was posted, and John was sending me messages. Why are you doing this? I'm like, what are you talking about? I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing too, though, is that if you get a good shot of anybody, the expression stops people as much too, as anything else. But make it personal. I mean, John hammered that into me. When you make it personal, and if they have a lot of friends, and, you know, pay attention to what's going on. When somebody comments, this is a great shot, I'm all over that person. I mean, in a, not a salesy way, but I'm just suggesting though, that if you have any really good looking friends that you haven't shot, you know, get them in, put them on LinkedIn.
I think as much as the headshots we post, especially if people know them, are powerful, like there's someone coming to mind, like all I see of him is from him is behind the scenes pictures, same setup, same location. Oh, Jeff crushed it today. You know, that's not interesting. If you say Jeff is from this country and immigrated here, blah, 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 started his own business, and now he, you know, works for this big company as one of his clients. That's so much more interesting. Jeff did a great job. Jeff really nailed his headshots. Jeff had this confident expression. You know, if it's just like one line, like basically, I have to write something here, it's Jeff. That's not, I don't think that's nearly as good. It's not a tenth as good as writing something that's actually about the person, or what you learned from them, or what you talked about, or how they found you, or something interesting about them. So yeah.
And what I'm doing this month too is, since it's a Women's History Month, I started just going back through all the women that I posted or that I've shot.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, if the ones that I remember specific things about, I'm putting a post on there, and I'm calling it, you know, these women who will make history. So I'm putting that in there, but I'm writing something specific about them, and keeping it in line with what's going on out there. Because all kinds of people were posting about Women's History Month, when it
That's
started
awesome.
in the beginning of March. So
Super idea. In line with this kind of thinking, I'm reminded that I wanted to be doing this all year, but I haven't thought about it again until now. I want to be going in with my individual clients and making a note in my CRM about what I learned about them. 2 kids, you know, divorced single mom from Colorado, whatever, everything that I remember right after the session in their contact, in their entry in my CRM. And it, like, if you had been doing that consistently, you could look up just about anybody, any woman from an individual session and be like, oh yeah, she had that invention or whatever. More information about her. Some of these images I have, I don't really remember anything about them.
it's a good point, because actually I look back and I'm looking at some people, I'm going, was she the one who, or was it? And now I can't post that little nugget of gold because I don't remember who to attach it.
Yeah, so it'd be a good thing to do. All right, Deb, hi,
Hi, John.
how are you?
Good.
Thanks for having your video on.
I came in a little late and was finishing up another meeting.
So what do you want to talk about? I'm going through, trying to go through, I will get through each person. Like you were talking about figuring out a way to have more streams. So are you
Yeah.
active on LinkedIn now?
I am getting there. I'm on there. I'm not, I'm starting to be more engaging
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Right now, I am getting my website kind of redone. And I think I'm kind of holding off a little bit until I kind of get that done. I'm working referrals, but I'm not really doing a lot of anything other than just waiting
Do you
on
think
the
that makes sense?
referrals. It doesn't make sense, and
Okay.
I know it. I know it. And but I've been working some back office stuff and just getting the few referrals from BNI. And there's another thing I'm a little leery. My situation is a little bit different. I retired from AT&T due to a back injury. So I just got approved for my disability. So I'm a little leery about putting, you know, sales and stuff out on social media. I'm not afraid to go and make the money, but I'm a little leery about, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You hear that old adage like they're watching you and that type of stuff. Um, Even when you're on disability, you still can make some income. And the CPA guy that I have, he told me, you know, how to go about doing it and the different write-offs and stuff that he can do. So I think I got that stuck in my head and a little held back to kind of go like full force because I know I can. So I just have to work through that. And I think this first quarter kind of, because I was going back and forth to court and I knew I was going to get approved and I got approved about 6 weeks ago. And so I had that kind of stuck in my head like, ooh, how do I do this? Or, you know, I don't want to put figures out on social media and that type of stuff. So I'm doing pretty good with my referrals, although I haven't made a whole lot of money. I'm right at $4,000. January, I didn't do anything. February, I did okay. And this month, I'm doing pretty good. I still have 3 jobs lined up for the remaining of this month so far. So that's kind of where I am.
Yeah,
So
that's a different kind of a situation. I just am sure that you have more potential to earn money with headshots than you are on disability.
yeah. And I said the same thing too. So
And
I mean,
so,
if it get to the point where, you know, I'm making the money, I'm not going to care about disability. But I think just that initial going through a 4-year approval process and, you know, that initial kind of like, oh, I got approved. It's not a heck of a lot of money, but, you know, I'll be 60 years old. So I'm like, okay, how much longer can I, you know, do headshots? I know I can. There's older people that's still doing it.
you look like
But
you have more time than most 60-year-olds.
so I'm not gonna get in my head too much about that. I mean, I want to make the money. That's why I'm in this group, and I'm not gonna worry about it. I just have to work through a few
I mean,
issues.
honestly, you know, when I think about like how long would I do this, you know, I saw what's his name, Albert. He's a landscape photographer. He's old. I'm
Mm.
not sure he's still alive, but I saw a documentary of him going out to photograph these mountains, and he was just sitting there. Everyone else was doing everything for him. He goes, you know, if you have the money to pay assistants, you don't have to do much of anything. Stand
Yeah.
there, sit there. You can get a little chair. Okay, move your head this way. Oh yeah, and then leather
Right.
pants. Okay, you know, it's if you're able to walk around, you can be a photographer. So
Yeah,
there's a lot
it's
of
true.
time left if you know, stay
Hmm.
as healthy as you are and can walk around.
Yeah. So, but I do want to, I mean, when I first came on, I heard you saying about the, you know, 20% here, 20% there. And I was thinking about that actually last week because I'm like, I love what I do at BNI. I'm in more like a leadership role, so I'm not paying the dues right now because of that. But then I'm like, how much longer do I want to do that? Or if I kind of pull back and 80% of my income is coming through referrals, um, what do I do? You know, so I'm trying to do the LinkedIn and the email. I don't know how to do the email campaign. I need to do some research on finding out how to do the drip. but I do have a CRM.
I think
17 hats.
I think the go-to service used to be MailChimp, but now they don't have a free version that does the drip. So I think Mailer Lite, Lite.
Okay.
Start. And then there are ways to integrate that into your opt-in if you're doing an opt-in where when they opt in, they automatically get the first email and are set up to get the rest of the drip. So
Okay.
yeah, stuff like that is stuff you can do without publicity.
Yeah.
So
hmm And I don't mind the publicity because you can't prove anything with publicity. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to put my sales out
okay.
on social media. That's all.
I get the concern, legitimate concern, but I think at some point it will come down to, do I want to make a lot of money or do I want to be safe and have not that much money?
Yeah, and that's a no-brainer. So yeah.
So anyway, cool. I hope this is helpful to everybody. Any other questions for me or each other? Because other people said helpful stuff too, for sure.
I just have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Show of hands. How many people are doing opt-in?
Hector, did you hear Peter?
Yeah, I'm not doing opt-in either. So, but I'm thinking about going there. So just
Why
wanted
aren't
to.
you doing opt-in, Hector?
Well, my whole website has to be transformed. That's why I haven't set it up yet.
But I talked about this like 8 months ago.
I know and it's those things. Like I just mentioned, Craig. He's like, yeah, I'm one of those that is like, yeah, I know things that need to be done, but I've been messing with so many other things, and it's like, yep.
Peter has a good reason for not doing opt-in, which is that it was work. He was getting lots of bookings without the opt-in.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Right, but yeah, I mean, one of the things holding me back as well is, you know, I'm just scared of getting on the phone and trying to get people in here. So yeah, it's an emotional issue.
I understand.
Yeah, but I think it's something I have to cross.
I think so.
Okay. Well, okay, so question to everybody is that are in opt-in, were you not opt-in at one point, and did you see a difference when you went opt-in?
Yes. Huge
And it was
difference.
a good difference.
I was getting, I always thought I just want it to run. I want it to just find out I have a booking. I want to go into the studio, shoot, make the money, leave.
Right.
I don't want to spend the time working. So I left it as a not opt-in for years. And I got like 2 opt-ins or 2 or 3 unassisted bookings. And I was like, this isn't working. So I switched to opt-in and I realized that my website was getting a lot more traffic than I thought. I should have known because I should have been doing the analytics and known how many and how long they were there, blah, 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 but I never have done that. So I started getting many, many, many more opt-ins than the unassisted bookings, and I started converting them. So that's one of the 3 things I changed that resulted in the $380,000 a year last year.
Okay, so everybody else has had positive results.
I would say I've had more
Yeah.
unassisted bookings since going to opt-in, actually.
Yeah,
I've had more unassisted bookings with opt-in than without,
okay,
just because I was like busy and I didn't see the email for half an hour and then they were booked.
all right. Yeah, thanks, everybody.
I used to get, I was like John, I mean, I would get maybe 5 unassisteds in a year. And I'd see these people dancing all over Headshot Hot Sauce, like, oh, I got 2 today. I'm like, what are you guys doing? But when I started the opt-in, you know, if you get 20 opt-ins a month, those are 20 people that bounced before. At least now you have an opportunity. Maybe 10 of them don't answer you when you call, but at least you have an opportunity. And yeah, I was starting to connect to people.
Either they would have bounced.
Yep.
Or they would have booked and they booked anyway. Like if someone's gonna come in, see the pricing and book, then if they fill out the form and see the pricing, they should book because it's the same information. The only thing is that it is another hurdle. There could be some people who wouldn't fill out the opt-in because they don't want to give you their email or whatever. But if they would book, they'll give you your email So I don't think you're losing out on that many people who would really be interested in working with you and book unassisted at your prices, who won't fill out a form to see the
I'm
price.
just using my personal preference as a guide here, and I don't want to give out my email to people.
Yep.
But maybe I'm a little bit too, maybe the majority is not like me. I don't know.
Well, then put your email address and your phone number and say, email me or call me if you have any questions. And then if you're like, I don't want to give them my email, but I'll give them a call, then you can talk to them. Or I don't want to give him my email address, but I'll email him. You know, that doesn't make any sense. You're giving him
Okay, right.
if they email you, and they're giving you their phone number if they call you. So I would give, you know, especially if you're concerned about that, give them a way to contact you without filling out the whole form.
Well, I don't want to get crazy. It just seems like the predominance is that opt-in is working for people.
Yeah. Yep.
And I wouldn't
I'd
worry
say-
about that, you know, the thought process that, you know, I wouldn't want to do it. I've heard other people say that, and I'm like, but you do Google Ads. Your whole premises on Google Ads is you have them do an opt-in because you're paying for that.
Yep.
And if you're doing an opt-in there, what's the problem about an opt-in here? So I think that the answer there is you're not your own client. Plenty of people do.
Yeah.
People, in my opinion, the people that found your site, the reason why they're gonna be more apt to do an opt-in is because they are specifically in the hunt to find a headshot. It's already there. And then if your site intrigues them enough, it's like, this guy's good. Yeah, I want to find out. They're going to do it. And because now I think you've overcome that hurdle, as opposed to just a little headline that says, hey, get a great headshot now. And, oh, I've been thinking about doing that. Let me look into it. And John, I have a question for you. When you call people afterwards, have you found that a number of people have not actually seen your pricing?
Oh, yeah. I had a guy told me, he's like, I didn't see the pricing, but I saw the video. I'm like, the video is right above the pricing. So I actually thought I should probably just put at the top end text, pricing is below. I have to look at the site again to see if I have that text. I think I might have that text, but even before I put the video in, where it was just some headshots and then the scheduler and the pricing right there. So many people are like, no, I didn't get redirect. I'm like, you did. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you did. You might not have gotten an email, it might have gotten to spam, but you were redirected. That works for everybody. But you know, I don't tell them that, but so many people haven't seen the pricing, which makes me think actually now with Peter here, like, I wonder how many people go to your pricing page and don't see the pricing, because it's as obvious as I can make it without looking clownish. What the price, like, I mean, it's not like bold, like 360, like across the whole screen, but it's really obvious to me that that's the pricing and it's right there and they don't see it. So I wonder how many people actually go to your booking page and don't see the pricing.
Could be. Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else? Was this cool? I want your feedback, because I haven't done a group like this before. I think it'll be harder in the evening with more people, but was this
Right.
good to go through one-on-one and talk about this? Or would
Mhm.
is it not that helpful?
Work for me.
Yeah, very
Yeah, no, it
helpful.
does, because it's crazy trying to see yourself, but when you start seeing everyone asking you and you start seeing, like, hearing other people, it's like, oh yeah, this is what I have.
Mhm.
It's
So
good
you
to know I'm
think-
not the only one with problems.
Yeah. Do you think for a bigger group like tonight, it would work even if I only get to like a third of the people? Do you think the people who didn't get to talk would still find value in it then?
I
do
think so,
it-
because you pick up information from the other conversations.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and there seemed to be a
Definitely.
lot of us had similar weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
probably a lot of people have the same one, so.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
If you have negative stuff to say, just message me if you don't want to say it right now.
So I'm gonna go to your website. So you can see me on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Do not fill out my opt-in, please.
I won't.
I've had one person fill it out like 4 times, like, oh, I didn't remember the websites. I'm like,
No, I won't fill out the opt-in.
filling
I
it
just
out.
want to see something.
not someone here, not someone in my coaching group. Anyway,
So if you have a larger group, let's say tonight, the best way to use it, like use this as our starting point. So we better to ask the question, say, okay, so who's not using CRM? Who's not using like sales techniques or doing the final sales pitch? And that way you can narrow it and get, it will be easier to talk with everyone, because now that people know what it is, it's like, oh yeah. So it probably will narrow down the time, and it will be easier for people to grab everyone.
Yeah. Hector, do you do Zooms with potential clients?
No, I jump right on the phone.
Okay, good, because your audio sucks.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. A number
Yeah.
of people have mentioned that, and even if I use the headphones, I don't know what it is.
It sounds like there's a pillow over your microphone.
Right.
Maybe it's your
Yeah.
voice.
I do have a question, John. Of your opt-ins that come in, those that you get on the phone, what would you say is your conversion rate?
Lately, very low. It used to be maybe somewhere around probably 10 to 15%. And I just have not, like the last 3 weeks, I feel like it's been zero.
Mine's going the same way. So the reason I was asking, I was going to say, would you mind? Because what Dwayne and I have talked about this too, Dwayne Furlong. I'm going to record my next conversation so I can hear my end, and he's going to do the same because it's happened to him too. And I'm wondering if I'm starting to say something over and over that I don't realize it's pushing people away. That I just kind of maybe started infiltrating into my calls, because I used to convert a lot more.
Yeah, I don't think it's me. I would guess that it's not you. I think people are afraid, and they're more cautious about stuff the last few weeks. But I do record a lot of my conversations, and my idea was to, share some of the successful ones with you. But the people I've converted, I've been like out of my office. Maybe I shouldn't take any calls in my office or something, but I've been recording. I'm like, nope, they didn't book. And so now I think occasionally I've not recorded calls that are successful just because I've had a lot that are not successful. So I wasn't recording. I don't record everyone anymore because they haven't been converting very well, very often. And then I miss one here, one there that do convert. I think it's the times we're living in right now, but yeah. So I don't know if that helps, but it makes you feel better.
Thanks.
What I'm here for. All right. Take care, guys.
Yep.
See ya.
Guys.